Hello, this is Community Conversations, a production of Concord TV, and I am Doris Ballard, your host. We have two new faces in Concord that are leading the Intown Concord organization, and I want you to meet them today because they've got a lot of energy, ready to jump in there and really take our new Main Street and our merchants and all the activities to another level. I want to welcome you, Michelle Motusas Johnson. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, wonderful. All right, you are the new executive director.
I am. Thank you for having us.
Well, we're going to find out all about you, but I want to go to your the new events and outreach coordinator, Kate Fleming. Welcome.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for having us.
So let's start with you,
Okay.
Michelle. You started in October, right around
About a week before Halloween Howl.
So you enjoyed Halloween Howl, and tell us about that first experience as the new executive director, being there as part of Halloween Howl.
Well, I can't really say I was the executive director during Halloween Howl. I was just a minion helping out since it had already been.
So Liza was still in charge?
Liza and Susan was still there. So they had planned it and they were running it. It was really interesting for me to see how everyone worked together, how the volunteers showed up. It's almost like the rhythm. Every organization has a rhythm when they put on an event. So having been in other organizations and other events, it was interesting for me to see how they worked together. It was fun. It was great.
Well, we're going to talk about that a little more in Midnight Merriment, but I'm going to go to Kate right now. Kate, when did you start? Did you start almost immediately after? I mean, I know that Michelle had a hand in your hiring.
Yeah, I started 2 days before Halloween Howl, actually. So when I came into the office, it was go time, and I was kind of just shadowing Susan and kind of seeing, I didn't really have the perspective of seeing the event, kind of all the behind the scenes for the months leading up to it. I got to see the last minute kind of it all coming together, which was also pretty neat to see all of that.
That's great. Well, let's get to know both of you in a little more detail, because now people are going to want to know all about our new faces at Intown Concord. And I want to give people who are watching the website, which is it's intownconcord.org.
Yep,
Easy enough.
Easy.
All right. All right. So you have, Michelle, quite a big a wide resume in event
In nonprofit.
nonprofit.
I do.
So talk about that.
And everything's kind of come together in this position. So I have a background early on before my kids were born. I was in social work. So I worked for Goodwill and Easter Seals and a homeless organization in the West Coast in Seattle, Washington. And when I had my kids, I stayed home for about 12 years with them, which was wonderful. But then I decided to do what I always wanted to do, which was work in a museum. And I couldn't decide between art or history, so I went to school, got my humanities degree. And I worked for the Courier, the Millyard Museum. I worked for the state at the Wentworth Coolidge Mansion, at the Zimmerman House for the Courier. I've just done a lot of different, I couldn't decide. When I first started working, and I'm jumping all over the place.
That's fine.
When I started working at the Courier, I was still in school, and I thought, I want to be a curator, because everyone who goes to school for museum work wants to be a curator. But then I watched them, because I was in the gift shop, and they never came out of the basement. And this is an apologies to curators everywhere. They didn't smile much, and they had no interaction with the customers, with the public. And I found that I really liked interacting and adding to the customer's experience of the museum, what they learned and the educational part of it. So I decided to focus on nonprofit administration.
Right. So you've been doing this type of work, or been in that field, what, 20 years? Or
About 20
About
years.
20 years, right. So tell us, are you an artist yourself?
I am.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, because I see that you have something exciting coming up.
I was just published in the spring, and I'm going to be published again in 2017.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so let's talk with you now, Kate. So tell us about your background.
I have an eclectic background as well. I actually started out in television production for a little while right out of college. And then I transitioned into public relations, which I just really fell in love with. I worked within an agency. I worked for a jewelry designer. And then I moved to New York and I started my own business. I had a fashion public relations firm for about 6 years. So that was, it feels like another life, but I did in fact do that. I still have the business card, so there's proof, but it feels like so long ago. And I let go of that, and I transitioned to Montessori teaching. I got certified as a Montessori preschool teacher.
Now you have 2 young children?
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, God
Yeah.
bless you. A
Yeah.
new job and 2 young ones
Yes.
under.
So we
Yeah.
seem a lot less.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy coming into work.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Right.
Yeah, so I transitioned into teaching for a while when I was in New York, and when I moved to New Hampshire about 2 years ago, I taught briefly, but felt like I had wanted to kind of get back into event planning, public relations, marketing. I mean, it really is just something that I'm passionate about. So then came this opportunity in Intown, and it's funny. I was talking to someone about how I look back at my experience, and I'm able to kind of use a little bit of everything in this role, which is really fantastic.
It's great when synergy happens like that,
Yep.
and you wonder, where do I belong? And
Right.
thank God for us in Concord that all of that experience that you both have will come to benefit our community in Town Concord. If you're just tuning in, I'm Doris Ballard, host of Community Conversations, a production and podcast of Concord TV. And my guests today are Michelle Matuzas Johnson. She's the executive director, almost brand new, at Intown Concord, and Kate Fleming, events and outreach coordinator in Intown Concord. And they both started in October, so we're getting to know them. That's what this show is all about, because you're going to see them a lot more on Concord TV, I'm sure. All right, Michelle, so
Yes.
when you found out about this position, how did you find out, and what attracted you to it?
Okay, so it was right before Labor Day, and I got a text from my friend who owns a business downtown. And she said, I have a job for you. And I said, I'm not looking. Not
And you
looking.
weren't looking at the time.
I wasn't. I had gotten out of nonprofits and gotten a job doing marketing and admin at an engineering company. I was very happy there. Lovely people, wonderful small company. And she kept on pushing, and I'm like, I'm really not looking. And she said, no, they're expecting your resume. You would be perfect. And I went, well, I know she's kind of pushy. But I went on the website and I looked, and I went down the bulleted, because the way the job was laid out, they just said the duties. And everything was, oh, I love doing that. I miss doing that. Oh, I'm really good at that, and I miss being really good at that. So I said, well, I've never been an executive director before. And I said, but this is all I've done. So I applied, and I wasn't expecting it. And thank God my friend kept on sending me texts going, I'm walking to Intown. I'm going to see where they're at. I'm like, no, don't push it. But I ended up with the job.
It's good to have friends who know you enough to know
yes.
that that'd be a perfect fit,
Yeah.
right? And what about you, Kate? What was it how did you find out about it? And what was it that you said, yes, that's the one I want to apply for?
Right. Like I said, we're new to Concord, and one of the first experiences that we had as a family was Halloween Howl. Not this October, but the last. And
So your children were what, 2 and 1 then? Wow.
yes, 2 and 1. Wow. And we just really loved the sense of community that was going on in the streets, and seeing all the other families, and how we hadn't really had that experience. I mean, we lived in New York City, and there's people all over all the time. But there wasn't really an opportunity where there was an event where everybody kind of came together for the same thing. And it really had an impact on me, because I really want that for my family. And we walked away just feeling like really excited to be part of Concord, that we were in a special town. So when I heard about the job, I said absolutely. I mean, the job description was everything that I really wanted to do. But on top of that, it's an organization that I feel really excited about, that I want to be part of. And so I just, all of those things together, I said, I gotta throw my hat in, so I did.
And the rest is history.
And
for
we're
both
so
of
glad
you.
she did.
That's great. Good. So how's the dynamic? You didn't know each other before this.
No,
so
I
you're-
feel like we
not
did.
at all.
Yeah. You think maybe in
Really,
another
you get
life
really
we know each
close.
other?
We're
in
asking each
event
other about
planning.
how's that cousin of yours now?
Yeah.
Already?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you get very
Yeah.
close when you're, in a role like this very quickly.
So did you know immediately, almost immediately?
Almost immediately. During the interview process for me, I had asked the question. I knew that it was going to be 100% turnover, and they were looking for the events position. And I asked, is the executive director, going to be involved? And they went, oh, what do you think? And I said, absolutely. Having been part of a 2-person team in the Independence Museum in Exeter, I went, it's very important, because you need the chemistry and you need to like each other. Otherwise, it's very long days, and you're not going to get much done.
Right.
So when they offered me the job and I accepted, they said, "Do you still want to be part? We've been putting off interviewing. Do you still want to be part of it?" And I said, "Absolutely." So while I was ending my job at the engineering firm, I was coming up here at nights and early in the mornings to do board meetings, to do mailings, and to interview. And she was the first one. And I went, oh, I really like her. But I'm like, okay, there are more. And everyone we had was so wonderful in their own way. And we actually had it narrowed down to 2. And in my head, for 2 days, I was like ping-ponging back and forth. What about Kate? What about? And the other person was amazing, and she was a lot like me. And then I went, Kate has a lot of attributes that make up where I lack. And so I thought that would be the best fit. And it ended up being true.
Smart. That's right. Very good. So first day on the job, or first month, Michelle, what's that been like for you? I mean, what have you learned about yourself, maybe, that you know, did you feel the fit was even better after a month of being on the job?
Well, I'm a high achiever and I'm a perfectionist. So for the first day when I didn't know anything, I'm like, oh, I hate this learning curve. But you know, I got right in. I started looking through the files, asking tons of questions, watching Liza and Susan, who were still there.
I was going to ask
how
about
they
that.
worked.
They have been there to support you both. Correct?
They were at the beginning. Liza's actually last day is tomorrow.
Oh,
So she can go fly.
that-
And then we can fly. It's going to be great. But I learned about myself that I can put in long days. Walked Midnight Merriment 13 miles that night.
Wow.
No, it's
On a beautiful night.
It was
too.
so
It was
beautiful.
The best nights we ever had for Midnight Merriment that I can recall.
Yeah.
Anyway. So,
it was exciting. It was fun, and I don't know. I'm still learning.
yeah.
Well, that we were really good at schlepping.
Well, that's what.
Really
if you're a
good schlepping
nonprofit,
things.
not a nonprofit person, I said what we do is we schlep.
We schlep.
We just move things from here to
Yeah,
there.
because you've been like in the business of
Yeah.
for-profit types. Yeah.
Yeah.
of-
But
You
I'm okay
clean
with
toilets,
schlepping.
Yes.
we
I
schlep,
have
we
2
do
little
whatever.
kids.
And
I'm okay
whatever
with
it takes.
schlepping.
Interviewing her, I remember thinking she'll be a good schlepper. She won't go.
Yeah, number
"This
1
isn't my
schlepper over
job."
here.
And she has a big car.
Yeah,
Oh,
so you know,
wonderful.
that's really why I got
That's
the
why
job.
you were hired, right?
We didn't know that.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, this is Community Conversations, a podcast and a TV production of Concord Television, Concord TV. And my guests today are Michelle Wachusas-Johnson, Executive Director of Intown Concord, and we have Kate Fleming, Events and Outreach Coordinator of Intown Concord. And if you see, I want you to see their faces because you're going to see them around and during the events, and then you'll be able to say, "Oh, hello, how's it going?"
Yeah,
right?
please
Right.
do.
All right,
Yeah.
And
so
we'll be wearing really big red buttons that says "Ask Me Anything."
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Wonderful.
It's one of the first things we
Ah,
did.
That's wonderful. Okay, let's talk about the immediate future. But first, what is it like? I mean, did you do research about Concord before? I'm sure you did. Michelle, we'll start with
research
you.
everything.
Yeah.
I had actually worked in Concord before. My friend who found the job for me is Sarah Chaffee, who owns
Oh,
McGowan
yes,
Fine Art.
yes.
So I've helped her out in the studio before, in the gallery. I have a bunch of friends who are up here, and I've worked for Families in Transition. I was a volunteer coordinator for a while. So I was up in the store at Outfitters a
Love
lot. And
Families in
I fell in
Transition.
love with
Yeah.
Concord. It's so walkable,
Right.
and it's just so friendly.
And now with you, Kate, the new Main Street. Did you see it before? Do you remember it before it was remodeled?
No,
redone?
because when we moved up here, it was under construction. So
that was a real challenge, but the merchants
Yeah.
really hung in there.
they really
They
did.
did.
And it was worth the wait. And I think
Sure.
everybody feels like that. It was
Absolutely.
worth the wait, just talking to them.
So you're coming into Concord now, brand spanking new, beautiful new Main Street. What are some of your goals?
Well, we'd like to kind of lift Intown up to the point where people know what we do. They've been an amazing organization who have gotten Midnight Merriment, Halloween Howl, Market Days. It runs smoothly, and they've done that, but they've done it quietly, modestly, and behind the scenes. So people, when we laugh, what people think we do, people go, "You work for the city, right?" We go, "No."
Yeah.
or the chamber.
Or we have, you know, something to do with voting regulations
Or trash cleanup.
or trash cleanup or
Really? Yeah. Oh my
parking.
gosh.
So, and that was one of the first things that I noticed when I started telling people that I was working for Intown, is that there was this confusion as to what they actually do. And, you know, you say we're the market days people, and you kind of want people to know that you're more than just the market days people.
We're more
'cause
than events.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
There's
our
a real
goal
mission. Yeah.
right now, is to not rebrand, because we're not going to change the logo or the mission, but bring us more into the public eye as to what we do, and to get the community. The merchants are already, they're bought in. But to get the community who enjoy all these events and enjoy the downtown, that it's clean and it's safe and it's accessible, have them buy into the organization also.
I want to talk about your marketing background, especially for you, Kate, with social media, but I want to read your mission. It's to Intown Concord, to promote and enhance the business environment, cultural activities, housing, and appearance of historic downtown Concord. So that's one sentence. It's not very big, but it says a lot. It says an awful lot.
Right.
All right, so this is all part, I'm thinking, am I right when I ask you, of you're going to be getting more out through social media?
Yes.
And talk to us, I know both of you have some input on your efforts at reaching out, but in only just a couple of months, you're really focusing on Facebook, Instagram, and whatever. So talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just the way that the world is now, is so much of the messaging is coming in short bursts of photos, or, you know, on Twitter, 140 characters or less. And, you know, it's important to kind of be able to get your message out, get your mission out in these bursts of communication. Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these things are very powerful tools for businesses right now. And we've seen that since we've come on board, just posting different things, and people are really loving it. They're wanting to be part of it. They're very supportive. So we're really trying to get out there more and go around downtown, go around Main Street, take pictures of things that people see every single day but don't really think about it, like the wreaths or the tree or the State House, and put it out there, and people are just really getting excited about it. So we're kind of riding that wave right now.
It's a small shift in perspective,
Yeah.
and people go, it is beautiful downtown. And, you know, and not just the beautiful new street and the wide sidewalks and the bump outs, but all the little details that the merchants in the city have put so much effort and money into.
Yeah.
And then blending the new with the architecture that's been there for you know, decades, that people miss.
You miss.
You know?
You're not looking
You
at. You
look at
miss
it. You
the
know, right?
trees for
miss
the
it.
forest. Yeah.
Right, right. I know that the merchants have an organization, the Merchants Roundtable, right? So how do you working? I'm guessing that they know, they've met you.
Yes.
And
We're guests during their meetings, so we're not
Good.
part of it, but we are guests. And we work with them hand in hand. There's the independent businesses in Concord are so wonderful, but they're so busy. And a lot of times it's just one person or two people running the shop. So while they would like to do all the events, they don't have the time to take off from their day and do the logistics. So that's where we help. We help out. We help out with the advertising, and we can get a better rate as a nonprofit.
right,
So we can do cooperative advertising.
that's smart. It's cooperative PR,
Yep.
promotions, advertising, and I'm sure that the merchants will really appreciate that, because they're so busy with day-to-day operations of their businesses that,
Right.
you know,
And
your
it-
expertise can be helpful
And
to
it helps them learn what works for them without a huge output.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
So if you could, right now, you're kind of feeling the lay of the land, and something that you did say, I know you must be bursting with goals and exciting things to do. Is there something that you want to share with us, or do you just want to, you know, I'm leaving it how you answer that to you.
I want to go first.
Go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to, you go first.
You go first.
Well, it's just something small. We're redesigning our website.
Nice.
So we found some really great examples around the country, and we're going to be able to showcase a lot of the businesses, a lot of the downtown businesses in such an amazing light. So that's mine.
So intownconcord.org.
Intownconcord.org.
Yeah.
Give us a few weeks and it'll be brand new.
All right. And
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of going forward and events, I think that we do have some ideas, but we also have to kind of like rein it in. And I think that we've decided that this year, you know, going forward, we're going to stick to what has worked in the past. And we're going to follow a plan that was set in place, and not try to reinvent the wheel, because we don't want to mess anything up.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, I'm not. I'm kidding.
And you're going to be meeting a lot of people.
Yes, yeah, you know, so I think what we'll do is, you know, when a year goes by and we've had all of these events under our belt, we can look back and talk about as a team what works, what we felt didn't work, what we would want to change. And that's kind of where you start either rebuilding or changing anything. And who even knows? Yeah, right.
Great. I have no doubt that you're both going to do an amazing job, just from the energy that I feel from you. And Concord TV is looking forward to working with you.
We're so excited to be here.
That's
you.
great.
We really are.
And we're here for you, so anytime you want to come on, you can do your own show too. We'll talk about that later. Okay. So yes, my guests are Michelle Matuzas-Johnson, Executive Director, the new Executive Director of Intown Concord, and Kate Fleming, Events and Outreach Coordinator. She is also new to Intown Concord. And so, again, I say, like them on Facebook. So, you know, let's make the pitch so people can start following you and seeing everything that you're doing. And now, a couple of things that struck me is, what's this Segway tour? I mean, we have to do that in Concord.
Okay.
No?
Oh, you know, you do. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll still do it.
Down.
I was actually this morning on Craigslist looking for used Segways. Wanting to buy myself. I love
So
Segways.
you actually did Segway
I did the
tours.
historic Segway tours. They were on Hanover Street in Manchester.
Really?
I had just gotten divorced, and I'm like, I really need to actually support myself. So I need to get into the real world. So this Segway being a business and not a nonprofit, but I'm like, I do historic tours. That's what I know.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Wow.
But they ended up closing the store.
Well, the funny thing about that is my husband worked for Segway and actually set that
Oh
store
my
up.
gosh. Talk about that synergy again.
Yes.
I know. I know. It's crazy. Okay, now, Midnight Merriment, by the time, you know, we're going to be showing this even, it just happened. Beautiful night. You did a Halloween Howl. Now you're getting ready for market days?
Oh, don't make her cry.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you're
I just
part-time, right?
Yes,
Right,
yeah,
Kate?
yeah.
And, I think a full-time executive director is full and a half time,
Oh,
and
yeah.
a part-time person is a
full-time.
full-time person.
Yeah.
Those of us in nonprofit.
Right.
Every week has been different hourly.
And that
you know,
must be
and
exciting for you.
It is.
Average.
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of we have a lot of meetings, which is fantastic. We're just kind of throwing ourselves into everything. The chamber committee meetings, and a lot of those meetings start, you know, at 8 in the morning, 7:30. So, you know, some weeks, some days I'm working super long, and then other, you know, trying to.
And we're going to
balance
try to arrange it so she can work from home.
Eventually, you'll level off.
Yeah,
a little
we'll
bit.
see.
Right. I
Goals.
know we only have a few minutes left, but I do want to say that I met both of you at a Creative Concord meeting, and the Chamber's Creative Concord committees, subcommittees are all working to really brand Concord as a cultural destination. How do you both feel about that? I'll start with you, Michelle.
I think that's a wonderful idea, and it's needed. I went with Tim Sink, we both did last week, to Montpelier. And they have a lot of similarities to Concord. And when I think of Montpelier, which I love, I think funky little town, and oh yeah, it's the state capital. Concord, it's the state capital, and oh yeah, the downtown's okay. And we're never going to be funky like Montpelier, because that's just not the culture here.
Right.
But we need to kind of find what makes us different and special, and elevate that.
And I think all the pieces are ready, having both of you on it in Town Concord, and then that synergy is growing. I know that. I can feel it, that we are a cultural destination. There's a lot exciting things coming up. I don't even want to say it because it's not definite yet. But market days, did we get the dates on those?
The 22nd, June 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
Okay, so
Thursday,
remember
Friday,
that on your
Saturday.
calendar. It was amazing last year. It's going to be amazing again this year. And I'm going to be really looking forward to hearing all the great things that you're doing. And I hope that the public that's watching or listening on our Community Conversations podcast follow along with us at Concord TV to see exactly what Michelle Matuzas-Johnson, Executive Director, and Kate Fleming, Events and Outreach Coordinator of Intown Concord, are up to as they move into their new positions. Thank you so much for being
having
here,
us. This was
Michelle,
fun.
and you, Kate.
Thank you very
Anytime.
much.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to Community Conversations. I'm Doris Ballard, and if you can't watch it on our channel, you can watch it on yourconcordtv.org. Tell people about it so they can go to there if they don't get it, and also listen to our podcast. And look at Concord NHTV's YouTube. You're going to see a lot of great videos. Bye now.